Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Our today's topic is about educational philosophies. As a student of education, you should know about the basic concepts of teaching philosophies and especially what these philosophies means. In this video, you will get an idea about these philosophies. Idealism. Our first philosophy over here is idealism. Idealism is one of the oldest school of thought in the world of philosophy that was given by Plato. According to this philosophy, the entire universe is an extension of them is do soul. The reality is somewhere else. They said that we are all the shadows of reality, all the objects based on ideas. From the epistemological standpoint, it is better called idealism, implying there by that thought or idea has greater than the physical object. The term idealism, which means that the theory attaches greater importance to ideals than of acts in this world. Idealism has some following characteristics. Number one, universe subsists within the spirit of mind. According to this philosophical theory, the entire world is fundamentally of the nature of spirit or mind, which accounts of its being called idealism. Idealists refuse to accept that the world or universe is to be a mechanical explanation or to believe that the process of nature can be explained on a mechanistic principle. For this reason, the idealists are opposed to all deterministic thinking. Here is we see that idealists are not follow the reality that exists on this universe. For this, the idealists argue that the material things do not really exist. In fact, the material things are not real because they are mutable and destructible. This is because whatever that is mutable and destructible keeps on changing. आइडिया क्योंकि चेंज होता रहता है, इसी वजह से आइडियलिस्ट इस चीज़ पर बिलीव करते थे कि जो कुछ हम सोचते हैं वही हम दुनिया में करते हैं और जो चीज़ें हम दुनिया में करते हैं वो तमाम की तमाम हमारी सोच और आइडिया पर बेस करती हैं. दैट्स वाई वो रियल नहीं हो सकती. रियलिटी वहाँ है जहाँ से ये आइडियाज आपके माइंड में आते हैं. Furthermore, idealists believe that universe is totally based on your idea and knowledge. The idealists hold that the universe can be known through the medium of reason or mind, since both mind and the universe are invested with an identical spiritual element. Another important characteristic of the idealist thought is that it emphasizes the mental or spiritual aspect of the universe without completely rejecting the materialistic explanation of it. Here we see that idealism is a philosophical doctrine which holds the view that ideas are the only reality and there is no external reality and the world is consist of only ideas. That's why this philosophy is related with the permanent reality that exists somewhere else rather than the seeing objects. Now, for an educational point of view, idealistic pattern of education grants the highest place to the educator. The educator creates a specific environment for the development and provides guidance so that the progress towards perfection and the rounded personality. Idealists believe करते हैं complete personality development. और बच्चे की टोटल उसके आइडियाज़, उसके एथिक्स, उसके मॉरल्स जो हैं वो स्ट्रॉन्ग होने ज़रूरी हैं उसको फर्दर मूव करने के लिए. The most precise explanation of the educator's role is manifested in Froebel's kindergarten pattern of education, in which the school is treated as a garden, the educand as a delicate plant which requires nurturing and the educator as the cautious garden. Although even in the absence of the garden, the plant will continue to grow and will inevitably follow the law governing its nature. The gardener has a certain significance in that he has the skill to develop plants. He may be unable to change a rose into a cabbage, but he certainly can contribute his might to the plant development. Here we can see that पूरी कोशिश करनी है किसी भी इंडिविजुअल को ग्रो करने के लिए, उसकी मेंटल एबिलिटीज़ को ग्रो करने के लिए. हम किसी फूल को किसी भी दूसरी चीज़ में चेंज नहीं कर सकते, बट हम अपनी कोशिश से चीज़ों को बेहतर तरीके से डेवलप कर सकते हैं, उनको प्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं. Idealism is basically is an old philosophy who focused on the complete personality, moral, valuable development of an individual for an educational perspective. जो लोग इसको बिलीव करते हैं, स्कूल ऑफ थॉट्स हैं, फॉलो करते हैं, वो डेफिनेटली इनकी पैटर्न्स को, इनकी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को अपने स्कूल्स में, अपनी टीचिंग्स में इनकलकेट करते हैं. The second educational philosophy here we will discuss is called Realism. This philosophy is given by Aristotle. Aristotle is the student of Plato. And according to this philosophy, things can be known as they really are, as matter of fact. जैसा कि दुनिया में चीज़ें दिखाई देती हैं, वो ही reality है. According to this philosophy and assumption, the material not be dilational word in the real things. Aristotle does not reject the ideas, but he believes them as construct of mind attached to the physical objects in the environment. The idealists recognize the contribution of the mind to process of knowledge and admit that knowledge is an activity, whereas realists say that mind is knowledge as a discovery and direct revelation. रियलिज्म की फ़िलॉसफी टोटली डिफरेंट है विद द फ़िलॉसफी ऑफ आइडियलिज्म. वो लोग आइडिया पे यकीन रखते हैं और यहाँ पर क्या बताते हैं कि तमाम की तमाम जो चीज़ें हम लोग परफॉर्म करते हैं वो आइडिया बेस्ड तो हैं, लेकिन जो परफॉर्मेंस हम कर रहे हैं वो रियलिटी है, वही हकीकत. उसको किसी भी दूसरी रियलिटी के साथ अटैच नहीं कर सकते. अकॉर्डिंग टू हिम आर्ट्स टोटल इज़ अ टेबुला रेज़ा. टेबुला रेज़ा यहाँ पर क्या है? जिस तरह से दिमाग की बात की है, सोच की बात की गई है, जिस तरह से एक स्लेट होती है, उस पर हम कुछ लिखते हैं, उसके बाद उसे इरेज कर देते हैं, मिटा देते हैं. अकॉर्डिंग टू देम आइडियाज भी यही रोल प्ले कर रहे होते हैं. अरिस्टोटल डिड नॉट रिजेक्ट हिज टीचर्स कंसेप्शन ऑफ द एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ आइडियाज, बट he started with the visible world as the basis reality views ideas as joined things which appeals to common sense. According to him, thinking and knowing begin with one sensation of object in the environment. Therefore, there is hardly any object which may not be perceived. Being the historical predecessor or the realism, Aristotle believes that mind does not make at the world, but rather take it as it is. According to him, जैसी दुनिया में चीज़ें हैं, रियलिटी है, उसी तरह से आप उसे एज अ रियलिटी बेस लें. हम उसे टोटली किसी आइडिया पर डिपेंड नहीं कर सकते या किसी और दुनिया में नहीं भेज सकते, क्योंकि रियलिटी ही असल चीज़ है. और यही फिलॉसफी बुनियाद बनती है आज की साइंस की. Realism is based on the reality of relationship. Thus, there is empirical knowledge that whatever is a diversity. Therefore, each thing has its own nature which determine what it is and what is to become. The purpose of education, according to this philosophy described by realists, is to acquire learner with the facts of the world so they can learn how to cope with it. बच्चों को रियलिटी हकाइक से आगाह करें ताकि वो उनसे जब प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में जाएं उनसे मुकाबला कर सकें, उनको कोप कर सकें, उसमें एडजस्ट हो सकें. From this point of view, Aristotle recommended the compulsory education, like his teacher Plato has his own concern exclusively with the education of boys. He has a little view of female education. यहाँ पर थोड़ी सी contradiction है कि ये लोग ज़्यादातर उस दौर में फोकस करते थे education that are just for boys, and they just said that boys को आप maximum education दें और female का काम जो होता है वो education लेना है, लेकिन एक limited हद तक. Our third philosophy is called Naturalism. In this philosophy, they explained that all the development of society by the laws of nature or the ultimate explanation of all realities to be found in nature and they believe that the everything comes from nature and returns through nature. Therefore, children must be given experiences which fit their natural interest and impulses. Jean-Jacques Rousseau is the main founder of this philosophy, who stressed that natural process should be allowed to take their course into classroom. By visualizing the individual differences, the children must be permitted and encouraged to develop according to their own. Rousseau further feel about the intellect that we should trust our feeling, not our minds. Naturalists believe that nature is the best teacher. All food come from nature. In short, they permit and encourage the individual to do what comes naturally. We have already known some of the most fundamental characteristics of the naturalism, since the ultimate nature and the fundamental characteristics of life remain the same. Therefore, the aim of education is not only preparation for life, but participation according to the stage of human growth and development. Rousseau's most famous book, The Email, tells a story of the education of a boy from infancy to adulthood. He divides these stages of growth as infancy, childhood, boyhood, adolescence, and youth. As the requirement of education for each stage vary therefore. Appropriateness of education for the particular stage must be kept in mind. नेचुरलिस्ट बिलीव करते हैं जो एक कुदरती फिनोमिना में इंसान की ग्रोथ होती है, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट उसको तालीम दें. इन्फेंसी में चाइल्डहुड, बॉयहुड, एडोलसेंस एंड यूथ, जिस जिस दौर की जो रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं, अकॉर्डिंग टू दोज रिक्वायरमेंट्स आप उनको एजुकेट करें, आप उनको ग्रो अप करें, आप उनको फैसिलिटेट करें. यही बेसिक फिनोमिना है टू सर्वाइव इन दिस यूनिवर्स अकॉर्डिंग टू this philosophy. Our next philosophy is called Pragmatism. Pragmatism, basically the main founder of this philosophy is John Dewey. John Dewey is the pioneer of the movement in philosophy. This is also called the modern philosophy. It is very much related with the basic ideas. The belief in the efficacy of the dialect method for establishing knowledge and truth criticized by pragmatism. This says that the absoluteness concept of the word is far too abstract and remote from the world of concrete personal experience, very large in number, beyond imaginations entangled with multifarious contradictions. The pragmatist viewed idealism as a monument of artificiality, a way of escape from real world. We may thus assume that for pragmatist philosophy is not only intellectual pursuit but also mostly related to human life and existence. यहाँ पर pragmatist थोड़ी सी नई सोच के साथ सामने आए, जिन्होंने फिलॉसफी दी है हमारे अब के वक्त की, जिस प्रेजेंट दौर में हम सरवाइव कर रहे हैं. अकॉर्डिंग टू देम कि हमें थोड़ी सी प्रोग्रेस करनी चाहिए एजुकेशन में, उसको स्टैटिक मत रखें, बल्कि ह्यूमन लाइफ के साथ साथ तालीम के मेयारात को भी चेंज होना ज़रूरी है. The pragmatists don't believe in ideas and beliefs which have no meaning, modify the conduct for decisive action of adjustment and readjustment according to the any knowledge must be utilized for achieving the end of life. Therefore, they emphasize upon the value of subjects that are fully matter as a means to the learner's end, an instrument to be employed for individual for overall useful purpose. That is why the day we prefer to call it instrumentalism or experimentalism. Pragmatism is also called instrumentalism philosophy as well as experimentalism philosophy. Pragmatism is a modern school of philosophy that plays an important role in education system. In his point of view, education is both process and product. It must be conceived and as continuing reconstruction of experience. The study of following material will be very useful to understand the pragmatism and its contribution. They fully believe ऑन द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल, कि जो कि वक्त के साथ साथ इम्प्रूव होनी ज़रूरी है. अकॉर्डिंग टू देम आपने उस प्रोडक्ट को प्रोसेस भी करना है और उससे आपने कंसीव भी करवाना है न्यू आइडियाज़ को एंड न्यू एक्सपेरिमेंट्स को. According to Pragmatism, Davy outlines 3 levels of an activity that would be used at the school for preschool children. Educational point of view से 3 stages में preschool children की education को divide किया गया है. Number 1, firstly he proposes exercises involving sensory organs and development of the physical coordination. Second, he used materials and instruments available in the environment. Third, according to him, children need to be involved in the activities prompting creative thinking. पहली स्टेज पर उन्होंने कहा है कि उसको आपने एक्सरसाइजेज ऐसे करवानी है जिसके में उसके ऑर्गन्स मजबूत हों. सेकंड, उसको आपने इंट्रोड्यूस करना है इन्वायरमेंट से. थर्डली, आपने उसकी क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग को प्रॉस्पर करना है, डेवलप करना है मुख्तलिफ तरह की टेक्निक्स को यूज़ करते. He believed that education is a social activity and provides schools special environment for simplifying, purifying and integrating the social experiences to understand the cultural heritage, to deal with their constantly changing environment. यहाँ पर डेवी कहता है according to this philosophy, स्कूल जो है एक छोटी सी सोसाइटी है या हम उसको कहेंगे that is called the miniature of society. जो कुछ सोसाइटी में हो रहा होता है वही एक्सपीरियंसेस हमें चाहिए, या जो इस फिलॉसफी को फॉलो करते हैं वो स्कूल में वो तमाम एक्टिविटीज़ बच्चे को करवाएं जो कि उन्हें सोसाइटी में मिलती हैं, ताकि जब वो बच्चे सोसाइटी में मूव कर जाएं तो उनको उसमें एडजस्टमेंट में मुश्किल ना हो. As the Davies educational ideas contributed to certain phases and aspects of progressive education, and some educators associated with Progressivism look like following Davies' philosophy along with their own version of Progressivism. However, there are no doubt that Davies' concept of learning, not only in United States but throughout the world, please complete the following activity to test your understanding. Our next philosophy is called Essentialism. In 1930s, Essentialism began as an organized philosophies movement within education. It was basically a conservative movement in fraction to extreme variant of Progressivism. The term itself had been suggested by educational philosopher Michael Parmesk-Avec in 1935. It is said to be the swing back or breakdown of premilist, with some reservation. As we studied that education is a social activity which simplifies, purifies and integrates social experience to understand the cultural heritage. जैसा कि इसके नाम से जाहिर है फिलॉसफी के, इसेंशियलिज्म ज़रूरी चीज़ें, ज़रूरी मॉरल्स, वैल्यूज़ बच्चे में ट्रांसफ़र करें. उस वक्त दौर में इतनी ज़्यादा फ़िलासफ़ीज़ जो हैं वो इंट्रोड्यूस हुई जिसमें प्रैक्टिकल आस्पेक्ट की तरफ फोकस किया गया और वो लोग भूल गए कि हमने बच्चों में उनके मॉरल्स और उनका कल्चर भी डेवलप करना है. तो इस फिलॉसफी में फोकस किया गया है कि आपने बच्चे को तालीम देते वक्त ये ख्याल रखना है कि उसको प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंसेस के साथ साथ उनका कल्चरल या उनकी मॉरल्स भी डेवलप करवाएं, उनको वो उनका कल्चर जो है वो मुंतकिल करें. द कल्चरल heritage has a controlling interest in the educational process and over long period of time. This also essential of offsprings and also essential for the surface which demand to change. For example, once in subcontinent, the study of Persian and Sanskrit was formally taught, essential to the making of an education person. यहाँ पर basic focus in this philosophy यही किया गया है कि किसी भी कल्चर में आप बच्चे को तालीम दे रहे हैं वहाँ पर बेसिक एक्सपेरिमेंट्स के साथ साथ एक्सपीरियंसेस के साथ साथ उनमें उनका बेसिक मॉरल्स वैल्यूज़ जो उस सोसाइटी में डेवलप हैं या उस सोसाइटी में जो मूव करता है कल्चर वो उनको ज़रूर समझाएं और मुंतकिल करें. Essentialists believe that the youngest and the youngsters should be taught all those essential things at a mature adult needs to know as a useful member of society. These essential things may change from time to time. Essentials do not emphasize on truth constantly coming down from generation to generation. Essentialism dwells on the practical aspect of life and feels that the school should waste little time on engaging youngsters who will constitute tomorrow's society. In reflective speculation, schools would teach youngsters factual information which they are to learn and retain. Essentialist हर तरह से फोकस करते हैं कि बच्चे को आप ज़रूरी मालूमात जो कि उसके इन आबा अजदाद से आई हैं, कल्चर से आई हैं या वैल्यूज़ हैं वो भी दें, और जो इसके साथ साथ उस वक्त की ज़रूरत है, जो वक्त जिस वक्त में वो मूव करता है, जिस तरह की जॉब्स उसको ज़रूरी हैं, जिस तरह का लाइफस्टाइल उस दौर में चल रहा है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग उसे फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन दें ताकि वो आसानी के साथ सरवाइव कर सके. बेसिकली तमाम की तमाम फ़िलासफ़ीज़ का हमने चेक किया है एजुकेशनल फिनोमेना कि जो बच्चे की ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट के साथ साथ किस तरह से उनको एक बेसिक थीम है जिसको वो फोकस करते हैं उनकी ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट के लिए. Our next philosophy is called Progressivism. Progressivism approaches the work of school from a separate perspective which than of the idealism and realism. They view change as the essence of reality. They believe in flexibility according to needs and interest of every pupil. They feel no single system may cater for the needs of students. Unlike idealist progressives, do not believe that there are unchanged truths. Therefore, the experiences or activities framed could prepare teen to accommodate to changing conditions. This view assumes that experience is primarily related to the nature of the student's experience, not to the nature of the external order. अब प्रोग्रेसिविज्म एक ही तरह के लोग जो हैं वो प्रोड्यूस होने लग गए थे, तो प्रोग्रेसिविज्म में टोटली फोकस किया गया मटेरियल थिंग्स की तरफ, जिसमें थोड़ी बहुत टाइम था कि उसमें आप थोड़ा सा फ्लेक्सिबल हो जाएं, लेकिन बेसिकली दे आर ऑल फोकस ऑन द अनचेंज्ड ट्रूथ्स कि भाई जो चीज़ है, जो एक्सपीरियंसेस आपकी तरक्की के लिए ज़रूरी हैं, आपकी डेवलपमेंट के लिए ज़रूरी है, जो तालीम, जो स्किल्स आपको प्रॉस्पर कर सकती हैं, वो वाली तालीम जो है वो ही शामिल हाल रखें स्कूलों में. After that, thus the knowledge as a tentative explanation that may fit circumstances well and have particular significance in acceptable. A progressive for the growth of individual personality offers the student what is important to them to shape their individuality. Progressivism views have that human beings as basically good. Therefore, if people are allowed freedom, generally they will choose new, selected and interpreted information, filter it into their minds and react with elements already there. It is assumed that it will turn out well for the people. Progressivism basically totally focus करती है तरक्की पसंदी की तरफ, जिसमें वो कहते हैं कि इंडिविजुअल्स को अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर इंटरेस्ट आप पूरी आज़ादी दें कि वो किस तरीके से ख़ुद को प्रॉस्पर कर सकता है. ये वाली जो तालीम थी ये अमूमन तरक्की याफ्ता ममालिक में दी गई और मुख्तलिफ स्कूल ऑफ थॉट इसको आज भी वहाँ पर फॉलो करते हैं. Progressivism emphasizes on conceiving youngsters' problem-solving skills. For this purpose, inductive approaches are particularly encouraged. Teacher may not provide learners with journal explanation but requires them to use their own mind to work rather than the way the universe works. This view assumes that experiences and its explanation basically related to the learners. As well as they worked on the mind of the student, the phenomena would improve the overall their problem solving abilities. In short, we may now wind up this discussion with the observation that progressivism is a learner centered movement, जिसमें totally focus किया गया था इंडिविजुअल पर کہ جو وہ چاہتا ہے، جس طریقے سے وہ ترقی کرنا چاہتا ہے، اس کو اسی کے اکارڈنگ آپ تعلیم دیں، وہی میٹیریل دیں، وہی کانٹینٹ دیں اور وہی انوائرمنٹ دیں جس میں وہ پراپر طریقے سے خود کو گرو کر سکے. Next philosophy is called Reconstructionism. Reconstructionism arouses as a futuristic movement. They believe that society has been strained nearly to bearing point due to unnecessary expansion of atomic war and the widespread of public exploitation. These developments created adjustment problem to social, psychological, and economic setup. The Reconstructionists feel that the situation can be remedied by bringing great change in educational system. To make the systematic adjustment to change condition, revolutionary steps are proposed by Reconstructionism. After that, by devising the present educational technique, they emphasize on human resource development and very effective institutional framework which may build society afresh. Hence, it is imperative to have a team of qualified and trained manpower for the development of indigenous capability rather than teaching outdated information. The school should prepare youngsters to reconstruct their society according to change of condition to remain ahead in emerging situation. For this philosophy, Armstrong also says Reconstructionist seeks to build society afresh. रिकन्स्ट्रक्शनिज्म भी किसी तरह से फ़ायदा मंद साबित हुई उस जगह पर जहाँ पर उन्होंने देखा कि जहाँ पर एब्सोल्यूट किस्म की या मुख्तलिफ तरह के पुराने फरसूदा किस्म के ख्यालात बार बार एक ही चीज़ को आप अगर डिवेलप करवा रहे हैं तो उसका कोई फ़ायदा नहीं हो रहा. एजुकेशनल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस फिलॉसफी एक बड़ा चेंज, ड्रास्टिक चेंज की ज़रूरत है एजुकेशन सिस्टम में, ताकि हम बच्चों में प्रॉपर तरीके से क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, क्रिएटिविटी और दूसरी स्किल्स को डेवलप कर सकें, ताकि वो फर्दर टेक्निक्स को यूज़ करते हुए न्यू इन्वेंशंस कर सकें. इस फिलॉसफी पर थोड़ा कम काम हुआ है लेकिन वक्त के साथ साथ हो रहा है. एंड दिस इज़ ऑल्सो वेरी मच इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर ऑल द यंगस्टर्स टू नो अबाउट दीज फिलॉसफीज इन समहाउ फॉर देयर ग्रूमिंग, क्योंकि एजुकेशन में हम एक ही फिलॉसफी को कुछ स्कूल ऑफ थॉट्स जो हैं वो लेकर चलते हैं और कुछ स्कूल ऑफ थॉट्स जो हैं वो कंबाइंड वर्क करते हैं. इंडिविजुअल पर्सनालिटी को बनाने के लिए जहाँ पर आइडियलिस्ट की ज़रूरत होती है, आइडियाज़ की ज़रूरत होती है, वहाँ पर रियलिटी की भी ज़रूरत है, वहाँ पर प्रोग्रेस करने की भी ज़रूरत है, वहाँ पर हम प्रैग्मेटिस्ट के आइडियाज़ भी लेते हैं एज वेल एज जो एसेंस हैं, जो ज़रूरी हैं, मॉरल्स हैं, वैल्यूज़ हैं, कल्चर्स हैं. So these all the educational philosophies work together for the development of an individual and in an educational system. I hope you like this brief introductions of these philosophies and you learned about it. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this video. Do share with your friends and who really need to learn. Stay safe and be happy and be blessed. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz.